It's that time again at the Chat Zone. I'm your host, Donna Ritchie. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, the book has arrived. We are here. This is my book called Maximize Relationship. You can actually get it on Amazon. You can get it on CreateSpace. If you want to load it up into your iPad or your ebooks, then we have it available on Amazon as well. And I am so excited. I just did a book signing recently and got great reviews from a lot of people, had a great response, and we're going to talk about relationship a little bit today. And relationship can be marital, it can be whoever, it could be maybe you're contemplating marriage. This book is for you. If you're in marriage and your marriage is good, then this will make it better. It'll add a little spice to it. If your marriage is on a hump, it'll help you get through the hump. And one of the first subjects that I talk about is it's yours for the asking. I mean, whoever the description of your special someone, that if you're single, that special someone, what are you looking for in a mate? Okay, you want to make sure that whatever you're looking for or whatever characteristic that you're looking for, so understand first of all, in your mindset, there is no perfect human being. So there are some things that you'll see in a person that you might be interested in. Maybe you don't see 100% of everything, but the things that you do see then that are positive, then is that someone that you would be interested in? The things that you see that maybe it's not quite kosher with you, you want to think in your mindset. You want to think, can I deal with that? Am I capable of handling that? If it got worse after we got married, if you're on the verge of getting married, these are the things that you want to look for. We recently did a show. I do a show in Atlanta, and it's an international television show called Friends and Neighbors. And we just interviewed a guy that's kind of up in age, like a grandfather figure, and his wife passed away. And one thing that he did on behalf of her as a pledge to her and to their union is she wrote a journal. And in that journal, she wrote the description of the type of husband that she was looking for. And it had all these different criterias. It wasn't anything like outlandish, but it was a list of things that she was looking for in a mate. And you want to be specific in the type of mate that you're looking for. And the great thing about it, and one of the funny things about it, is when we asked him, did he have a criteria? He only had 2 things where she had this long list. But he wrote a journal, and he put this journal together, and he put some information in there as well. But the majority of the journal was information that she was looking for in a mate. So my question is, what type of mate are you looking for? There are a lot of women that say, I want a rich man. Well, a man with a lot of money. Well, my question to you would be, do you know the mindset of someone that has a lot of money? They're not interested necessarily in spending that money or having you at the mall all the time spending their money. They are more interested in taking that money and saving the money. And so you have to think about the mindset of who you are interested in. If you're interested in someone that's a public figure, you have to consider their schedule. If they were busy before you came on the scene, most likely they'll be busy after that scene. So can you deal with that schedule? The fact that they're gone a lot, can you deal with that? If it gets worse, sometimes it might get worse later on down the road. Will you be able to handle that? The things that you do like about certain things that you're looking for in a mate, then that's a definite plus. But it's those things that maybe, can you deal with it or not? You want to consider that as well. So it's yours for the asking. Whatever you're looking for, then stick to that, and don't settle yourself short because of time. Because a lot of times, when time is a factor, then we tend to want to rush time, and you don't want to rush time. Trust me, you don't want to rush time. You want to make sure that you get the right one. Another one, making the right choice. You always want to make the right choice. It's always good to get someone in your life or have someone in your life that you have something in common with. Like, for an example, my husband and I, we are musicians we're musicians, and so that's how we met each other, and we were able to have that one thing in common. Now we have a lot of things in common, but you want to try to find someone that you have something in common with. You don't want to be going this way and they're going that way, because that could get even worse if you decide to get married. So these are things that you want to consider when you're talking about potentially marrying someone. I always say you marry your best friend. And so I married my best friend. He's still my friend. And friends are those people that you pick. And a friend will not highlight your faults. They will not beat you over the head with anything negative, but they're always there. You laugh with them. You share things with them. There's a lot of things that you do together that are positive, and that's the type of person that you kind of start out with when you're dating. And if you decide you want to get married later on down the road, then always keep in mind that that is your best friend, and you don't take life so serious, and you definitely don't do it all the time. I know sometimes once you get married, there's a sense of, you know, trying to make it in this world, and so sometimes it can get a little serious, but you always keep in mind that that is your best friend. Friends are those people that you choose. They're not people that just happen to be there. You pick and you choose your friends wisely. So we cover that in the book as well. My husband is my best friend. He's my confidant. He's everything to me, and I really appreciate our relationship because I can talk to him. We laugh. Try not to take life so serious. If you decide you want to get married and you're already married, try not to take life so serious all the time, but enjoy life together. You're a team now. After you've gotten married, now you're a team, and you want to work that thing as a team. Start on the front end and come together, and you decide what it is that your goal is as a couple. So we talk about things like that in our book, and I'm so excited to bring this information to you because my husband and I have been married for 3 decades now. It'll soon be 3 decades in a year, and he has been just an absolute best friend for me. And we're going to talk a little bit more about relationship, kind of help you get through the hump. All right, so stay tuned. We'll have more right after this. Thank you for watching the Chat Zone. We'll be right back. Looking for a professional painter and drywall contractor? Then look no more. Colores is licensed and insured and will make sure your home is beautiful, whether you want the whole house painted on the outside or just 2 rooms inside. No job is too big or small. Contact Colores Painting at 704-320-5736. That's 704-320-5736.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Clarice, Charlotte's very own Hollywood hairstylist. I specialize in healthy hair, whether relaxed, natural, or in a protective style, while giving you a Hollywood glamour look. Services include healthy blowout technique, braids, all weaving technique, custom wig units, and more at affordable prices. Stop by 4936 Albemarle Road, Suite 11, or call 704-287-2141. For visual images, check out Instagram under Tiffany Clarice. Rain. Hollywood Hair by Tiffany Clarice. Why look like the rest when you can look your best?
Are you tired of being sick? Try our amazing alkaline water. Come visit us at the Water Depot, 3312 Highway 21, Unit 102, Fort Mill, South Carolina 29715, or visit us online at donnaritchie.com or unforgettablewater.com. Change your water, change your health. Thank you for tuning in to the Chat Zone. Welcome back to the Chat Zone. We're talking about maximized relationship, creating the rhythm in your relationship. And if you ever need any kind of counseling or advice on relationship, then give me, you can stop by my website at www.donnaritchie.com. That's Ritchie with an RITCHIE.com. We're talking about in our book, The Art of a Good Relationship. All relationships take work, whether it's a marital relationship, whether it's a friendship relationship, whether it's a parent-child relationship. All relationships take work. And one of the things about adult relationships is communication. Now, there's going to always be something, maybe an offense here and there, but you have to know how to deal with those types of offense where it doesn't engulf the whole relationship to the point where you dissipate that relationship. You can disagree without being disagreeable, because you're two individuals, and when you're in relationships, particularly in the marital relationship, you're two individuals and you're becoming one. So you have two different mindsets, and I'm glad it's that way, because if we were just alike, just think about it. If you were identical to the person that you are in relationship with, then what would life be? Because see, you have to look at the good, the bad, and the challenging. So if you're identical to that person, even identical twins are not alike. They have different personality. And so you want to, they say opposites attract, well, opposites can attack as well. And you want to make sure that you get to know who you're with. Get to know their heart. Because if you know their heart, if they have a bad day, when they come home and they're exploding, they're very explosive, you know the goodness of their heart, that it wasn't really about you, they're exploding about something else. So you want to make sure that you get to know who you're with in relationship. Get to know their heart. That is so important. Communicate. Because with all you're getting in life, you always should get an understanding. Understand who you're with. Understand the different mood changes and the different changes. Because life doesn't change, we change. And so, if for an example, for women, we go through a lot of emotional things. And the men are more ego-driven. They're not emotional. So as a woman, it's only fair for me to explain to him what it's like to be emotional and to be a woman, because he's never been a woman, so he doesn't know. We talk about, you've heard of PMS, prepare to meet Satan. That's kind of how the experience is. I always tell men, you don't know what PMS is, you only know the repercussions of PMS. But we as women, we owe it to our men to explain what it is that we're going through. Now, we don't have to make excuses, because the excuses don't work. But we need to explain what PMS is, the feelings that you're going through, and then what you want to do as the female is, and this is what I've done, because I've explained it to my husband. I go to my room or I go somewhere and I deal with those emotions, because I need to deal with me. It's not his fault. This is my emotions. And sometimes our emotions are turned upside down. Sometimes we cry. Sometimes it may not even bother us. But we have to explain to them what it is. Go deal with it ourselves. Don't take it out on him, but deal with ourselves. So when you come back down and you're together again, you can give him a consistent behavior. You can give him a consistent person. You can give him the person that he married. You can give him that, because if there's nothing worse than dealing with someone and you say hi and you don't know who you're talking to. So you want to make sure that you stay consistent in your behavior, because how would you like it if every time you turned around and you talked to him, then you don't know who you're talking to. You could be talking to Dr. Jekyll, or you could be talking to Mr. Hyde. So you want to give consistent behavior. It's only fair for you to do that. And so they don't know what all this emotion is about. And a lot of times what I do is I just say, don't pay me no attention. Let me go and let me deal with this emotion, because guess what, ladies? this too shall pass. We don't always feel that way. So ride it out. It's like a contraction. You ride it out until it's over, and then you come back, and now you are the person that he married. Because all he wants is the woman that he married. Typically, women, we have a tendency, and it's not an indictment, but these are things that we do unconsciously. Typically, when we marry a guy, we have in the back of our mind of how we're going to change him. And my question is, how would you like it if someone changed you into something that you're not accustomed to being? See, life is going to change us anyway. We're going to change anyway. So, but for you to interject that, it's best for things to just be natural. And so my question would be, how would you like it if somebody changed you? You wouldn't like that too well. So when you marry and you say, I do, you marry as is. And that's what you deal with. You marry the as is person. And so my encouragement to you is we have to look at things in a fair way. When you're in a relationship with someone, you have to look at it in a fair way, because now you're dealing with two different individuals, two different personalities, two different viewpoints. But I like the way it's designed, because there is I never got a book on how you go through life. There is no manual on how you go through life as an individual, because we're all different. But we go through this thing together, and we are a team. So we work as a team, and we complete each other, not compete with each other. And so that's my encouragement to you. This is what you're going to walk away with when you read this book. You're going to walk away with a different perspective, but it's a healthy perspective. It's a fair perspective. You have to be fair in relationship. Men, explain to your woman what it is to be ego-driven. And if your husband likes praise and respect, which most men do, it's no problem. There's nothing wrong with that. Then give it to him. And because that's your man. And so the thing is you want to work together as a team and work for the benefit of both. We're going to have more on the other side.
Thank you for watching the Chat Zone. We'll be right back. Looking for a professional painter and drywall contractor? Then look no more. Colores is licensed and insured and will make sure your home is beautiful, whether you want the whole house painted on the outside or just 2 rooms inside. No job is too big or small. Contact Colores Painting at 704-320-5736. That's 704-320-5736.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Clarice, Charlotte's very own Hollywood hairstylist. I specialize in healthy hair, whether relaxed, natural, or in a protective style, while giving you a Hollywood glamour look. Services include healthy blowout technique, braids, all weaving techniques, custom wig units, and more at affordable prices. Stop by 4936 Albemarle Road, Suite 11, or call 704-287-2141. For visual images, check out Instagram under Tiffany Clarice. Rain. Hollywood Hair by Tiffany Clarice. Why look like the rest when you can look your best?
My name is Cynthia Knight, Director of Castle's Daycare Academy, here in Charlotte, North Carolina for more than 28 years, preparing children to be successful as they further their education. I have developed a curriculum entitled Achievement Rocks. It inhabits purposeful learning that encourages feelings of achievement in all children. Learning is fun. If you want your child to get an outstanding education while having fun prior to entering the school system, go to Achievement Rocks, ROCZ.com, or call 704-563-7112, because brilliance is at work in the mind of a child.
Are you tired of being sick? Try our amazing alkaline water. Come visit us at the Water Depot, 3312 Highway 21, Unit 102, Fort Mill, South Carolina 29715, or visit us online at DonnaRitchie.com or unforgettablewater.com. Change your water, change your health. Thank you for tuning in to the Chat Zone.
We're back and we're talking about Maximize Relationship, Creating the Rhythm in Your Relationship, which is a book that I wrote. And what it will do when you finish reading this book, it's a self-help guide to a healthy relationship. And healthy is balance. You have to have balance. Life is full of balance. What you put in your body has to be balanced. What you feed your mind, you have to be balanced. You can't be too far left, too far right. Now, if you want to get a copy of my book is at Amazon. Go to Amazon.com and type in the search engine Maximize Relationship, and you will see Maximize Relationship, Creating the Rhythm in Your Relationship by Donna Ritchie, yours truly. I want to talk about one of the chapters in my book called Setting the Climate. As women, and I want to talk to our women, we are climate setters, and when your man comes home, it's very important that the climate is pleasant for him to come home. You know, I think about the lady in the Bible. You've heard about Samson and Delilah. I think about Delilah in cases like this, because Delilah made it very comfortable for Samson to come home. And when Samson would come home, he'd end up laying down on the sofa, and she's sitting there, and he has his head in her lap just resting. And so you want that atmosphere to be so pleasant for him, because think about it. When he goes out that door, he's fighting lions, tigers, and bears all day long. And you don't know the depth of what he's had to fight that day just to provide for the family. So you want to make sure that when he comes home, that he's going to want to come home. You want him to come home. You don't want him to go to Betty Boop's house. And I always talk about Betty Boop, because Betty Boop, she took care of herself. She would cook dinner, and I'm not saying you have to cook dinner all the time, every day, because I know we live in a busy world now. We're multitaskers, but you want to make sure that you have that home life ready for him when he comes home, so he'll be glad to come home. The one thing I can say for 30 years, almost 31 years, is my husband has never complained about being home. The very first thing he would say from years ago to this day, that when he comes home, the time at home is just too short, because the atmosphere is conducive. The atmosphere is pleasant for him. You want him to want to come home. And if you have children, I know you can, excuses. You cannot make excuses, because it's too much competition out there. And nowadays it's kind of funny, because some people will ask you, are you married? They don't really care if you're married now. They'll ask you, are you happy? And so you want to make sure that you're happy. You want to make sure that your mate is happy, so they will want to come home. And you know, you can enjoy each other. If you have children, include the children in that sometimes. And let me just give you this little tidbit, because we talk about this in the book as well. When your mate comes home, you have the children all day, don't dump on him as soon as he comes home. Give them a few minutes to just breathe from the day. Give him a few minutes to just kind of catch his breath, collect himself, get himself together, so he can be the person that you married as well. And if we have to flip the switch, then if it's the wife that comes home, then give her a few minutes to kind of collect herself, detox from the day, and then she can be the wife that you married. But you want to make sure that the atmosphere is conducive and very pleasant for your mate. Also, you want, when people say I love you, because remember now, we talked about at the top of the show, you're two individuals. When people say I love you says something different for everybody. So typically, because I have a lot of men in my life. I have a husband, I have a dad, I have 6 brothers. Men say I love you differently from women, typically. I'm not saying all of them do, but typically they do. They say I love you by how they provide for you. Some women cry and they say, oh, you didn't tell me that you love me today. And he might say something and we think it's a dumb thing for him to say, well, I said that 20 years ago when we got married, you know. But what he may not say it every day, but if you listen to that silent language, because it's not always what you say, it's what you do. And so you listen to that silent language, and that silent language says, I'm providing for you, I'm coming home every day, And that's the way I say I love you. And I love our children because I'm providing for you. And so you have to understand, if you have a man, you have to understand man language. If you have a woman, you have to understand female language. You have to understand the woman's language. Understand your lane. We talk about that in the book as well. Understanding the lane that you're in. You want to make sure that you understand who you are, the good, the bad, and the challenging, and you want to understand the good, the bad, the challenging in your mate, so you won't collide with each other and compete with each other. You want to understand that lane that they're in. You know what ticks them off. You know what makes them happy. These are things that you want to really discover and you really want to focus on so you can have a great relationship, a healthy relationship. Now, when I talk about relationship, there is no perfect person, there is no perfect relationship, but you can have a happy relationship. And so that takes two people willing to work together. You have to be willing to work together and find out those things in the beginning when you're dating. Find out what to expect when you get married, because you don't want to get married and then find out and you have a disaster. Find out everything on the front end to make sure if this is the person that you want to be vulnerable to, this is the person that you're going to entrust your life to. These are questions you need to ask on the front end. So you'll find this information in my book called Maximize Relationship, Creating the Rhythm in Your Relationship by yours truly, Donna Ritchie. And you can find it on Amazon.com. Just put in the search engine, Maximize Relationship, and just look for my book by Donna Ritchie. And I am so glad that you tuned in. I hope you've learned something from this session. When you read this book, you're gonna walk away with a healthy perspective on what it is to be in a relationship, because relationships take work. I don't care who you are and what you do, it takes work. But it's not a work where it's drudgery, because it takes work to raise a child. It takes work to take care of pets. It takes work to just stay happy sometimes all the time. It takes work. But if you do it right, then you will have a successful relationship. You will have a fun relationship. So I want to encourage you, if you're at a stalemate in your relationship, this book is for you. If your relationship is on good grounds, then this book is for you. If you're contemplating being in a permanent relationship, this book is for you. So I just want to encourage you to get the book on Amazon.com called Maximize Relationship by yours truly, Donna Ritchie. And until next time, we'll talk to you at this same time on the Chat Zone.